What we want to do is we want to put every book within walking distance of every home, and there aren't enough bookstores in South Africa and the rest of the world to do that, but there are photocopy shops everywhere, and if they can be legally instantly printing books out for people, we can put bookstores anywhere, and that's why over the last year over 200 copy shops have signed up with us. But what's really, really important is that we use this vehicle that we're building to encourage people to read and write more. And that's got to start in our schools, where people need to be excited about writing. And to be excited about writing, you need to know that there's a chance that you can get published. And that's why we want to do the anthology, to give high school writers that chance. And we've had a hell of a lot of fun putting together this anthology over the last year.
I just wanted to say it's such a beautiful book. It's so beautifully designed and set out. The cover design is great. You know, huge credit to everyone who's involved, because I think it's a beautiful production, and even the bios are interesting at the end, which I've been reading. Can I read one of them? Yeah. I imagine this is for Palesa Modupe Sheila Maditaba. Palesa has a book of poems that came together from all those times when she did not have homework. Her favorite writer is Jerome K. Jerome. She can't get enough of Chinese films and Muvhango. She's convinced Nicki Minaj is her sister, and she thinks it's very important for us to know that she's a very beautiful girl, and apologizes for not including a photo as proof.
To get back to your question of who inspired me, I would think that I read quite a lot of African writers series when I was quite young. You know, I read your Chebes, I didn't know anything about Dickens and stuff. It's things that I discovered at the university. People who talk about things that happen in Nigeria, for instance. I know when I go to Nigeria, I'll make an example. I read a story called Down River Road, and the first time I went to Kenya, I wanted to see where is this river road, you know? I read a story in Nigeria about yams. I had my imagination of yams, you know, but when I went to Nigeria, I wanted to find out what is this yam. So those people have brought their cultures here, and I was able to compare my own culture and my own surrounding with them, through them. But what I'm trying to say is you not necessarily have to be inspired by a particular writer. You have to inspire yourself, your community around you.
I want to ask Jenna Solomon to read from her story. Now, Jenna's story, Harbour Child, won our short story section, and we're incredibly pleased to have her here today to be able to read from it.
The harbour at Cape Town is broadly spread and endlessly busy. Every day there are thousands of containers arriving, and the same amount.
You yourself were a young writer. I seem to remember you were in English Alive when you were in high school, and I mean that was the same kind of opportunity for you.
Yes, absolutely. And I still remember one of the most sort of the feelings that I've had in my life that I remember most clearly was having my first poem published in English Alive and just not being able to believe that I was going to see my words printed for other people to see as well. I don't think you ever forget that experience.
The window, glassless and bare, looks out upon the tangled garden. Weeds grow with wild abandon, seemingly bursting from the cracked and scattered paving stones. Creepers lap at the rock.
One of the decisions that you led in that team was that we weren't going to translate anything that was in the other languages. Now, we don't have any readings from the other languages here today, but we were you almost wanted to make a statement of a sort.
People who have access to English always take it like by default, like naturally everybody else, you know, knows the language and should be comfortable with it, and they don't see how the dominance of the language acts as a tool of exclusion for quite a lot of other people who don't have access to that language. And what I wanted to create in putting together this anthology was to give English readers who don't have monolingual English readers who don't understand other languages the same feeling that people who encounter a text in English that they can't fully decipher feel like all the time, you know, when they are faced with English-only texts. And most importantly, the reason not to translate them was to basically say that just because it's not English doesn't mean that you have the right to understand it. If you don't understand it, that's your problem, basically, you know.
Cindy Makwabo from Claremont High is going to read us an excerpt from her story, I'll Show Them.
Alice Atiwana didn't think she had enemies until the morning she discovered her flowers poisoned and clipped.
In view, you composed within me a bright-leaved bird that cracked my rib cage for a nest.
As I said, there was just so many people who helped us through this process. Nick Mhlongo, Pedley, Sarah, Russell Kashula, Pomosha Mateulane, Valdo Muller, Laneka Botha, Tabisa Kalisa, Notfolo Chikela, Lerato Monesi, my colleagues at Paperight, Arthur, Terranen Anderson, Desiree Little, Yazid Peters, Philippa Dewey, Nick Mauru. But most importantly, I just want to say thank you so much to the young writers.
A last thank you from me to everyone on the panel, to everyone here. It's been really, really fun to kick off this anthology. Copies downstairs, do get one. Do we have any more questions? Hannah?
Does it all happen again next year, and can we enter again?
That's certainly absolutely the plan, and today is kind of a call for submissions. We'll be confirming the details of the next anthology over the next few weeks. But in the meantime, yeah, you can start sending us this. You can start sending us your work, because we need to spread the word as widely as possible. It's really easy to reach all the wealthy schools in South Africa. It's really hard to reach everybody, and we need your help to get that word out. Thanks.